Well, hi everybody, it's time for your Farm and Ranch News. Well, one of the big headlines all fall long has been this tax reform legislation back in our nation's capital. And with us on the program this morning to kind of walk us through some of the good parts and maybe some of the not so good parts for farm and ranch country and out here in rural America like Montana and Wyoming is our friend Amy Iverson from Wifley's Certified Public Accountants and Consultants. And well, let's start with the good stuff because there are a lot of good things in both versions of this tax reform legislation in Washington, D.C.
Correct. And, you know, right now the House has just come out with their bill and their suggestion is, you know, Section 179 remains. So there we can expense your equipment and cattle as you have purchased them. Another good thing about that is the bonus depreciation has become 100% and through 2025. So we're good for several years on that bonus depreciation, and that includes, that's a good thing for all of those assets that you have purchased that are 20 years and less. In addition to that, they've come out with 4 tax brackets instead of the 7 that we're currently at. And then the bright part on the agriculture side and the family farm is going to be the estate tax. The estate tax, the exemptions jumped up to 11.2 million. So that's for a married couple. You have 22.4 of exemptions. So that's a great thing for our ag families.
Absolutely. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of change here and there when the House version comes together with the Senate version and reconciliation, but these are kind of the nuts and bolts of it as it stands right now. We talked about the good parts. There are some red flags, though, in certain parts of this tax reform legislation.
There are some things that aren't quite good for our producers. There's a deduction out there called we call it the DPAD. It's the Deduction Production Deduction. So it's Section 199 and it's going to go away. So you will no longer see that on your tax return. This was really good for our co-ops and some of our other producers. Another thing that's not quite so good for our producers is going to be the self-employment tax. They are proposing that all income coming through pass-through is now going to be subject to your self-employment tax. So we have structured our entities to avoid some of that. That might be taken off the table, or we might be looking at different structures.
Oh, absolutely. As the case with anything out of Washington, D.C. here of late, sometimes the devil is in the details. And certainly the best piece of advice, if you have any questions or what this could mean for your farm and ranch, just have a visit with your own CPA in your own operation. And by the way, keep an eye out for Wifley at some of these upcoming ag conventions like the Montana Grain Growers in Great Falls and the Montana Stock Growers in Billings. Amy, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, stay with us. We'll have your markets right after this.